Welcome to Beyond the Blueprint, the podcast where we explore growth, resilience, and lessons that shape our journeys.
I'm Barry, and I'm here with my brother Timoni. Together we dive into honest conversations about life, success, and everything in between.
This is a space for relatable insights, practical advice, and stories that help you carve your own path.
So let's look beyond the blueprint. Righty. Welcome back. Beyond the Blueprint. It's been a while, but it's been a pretty good journey so far. Timoni, how's it going? How are you doing?
Everything is good, bro. This time I'm just going to jump straight into it. Work's been great because we always try to hold off on work, but we need to accept it's a part of us. And yeah, man, I mean, we spend a lot of time at work. Work's good. Again, as per usual, I'm hitting my goals in the gym. Life's good. Can't complain.
That's what's up. I mean,
your end?
My end, work's all right. Today was actually a pretty busy one because you can imagine I had to be a bean counter by day and a podcaster by night. But we're here. Overall, I'm good. You know, I've been a bit inconsistent in the gym, like I told you, because work's been super busy, but trying to make the most of it. Yeah. Anyway, without further ado, without making it any more awkward, we have a person between us. His name is Michael. I will let him introduce himself, and maybe as he introduces himself, you guys will start to figure out how you potentially know each other.
Can I put him on the spot?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'll turn on the timer on my phone. Just sometimes, because look, we'll get to learn a lot more of you or about you as we go on. But I want to just filter through to what you would consider the important stuff. Just make sure you mention your family. I think I'll give you a minute.
Okay.
To just give like a quick about yourself. So
This feels like an elevator pitch.
I know, right? All right,
Yeah.
Go.
As I said, my name is Michael. I'm an engineer, an artist. I make music. I am a fun guy, I like to say, because I love fun. I love puzzles, games, brain teasers, such stuff. Okay. And then I'm also 8 months a husband.
Nice.
Yeah, so 8 months officially a husband, but before that I had to do some work and prepare mentally to be a husband and to run a home. Okay. So yeah, those three things. Yeah, so the top one would be an artist, and then second only to me being a husband, because I feel like family is a ministry.
What's his P1? Yeah, straight.
And the engineering thing is like, hey, it's a side thing, it's a side hustle. I'm like, if I don't make it big in this music, what am I gonna do? So
that's the fallback.
Math is like, okay, cool. Let me solve some math. It works out. So
it feels like a very long minute.
Yep, that's the minute. Yeah.
Okay. Is it?
Right.
Yeah. At least I guess we filtered through to like the fundamentals of who you are, which is great. I think
so husband, artist, engineer, fun guy. Yeah, he kind of gave us the lowdown. So Michael, for me, I think one of the cool things is the way you spell your name. So not the way you spell your name, the way your name is spelled. And I think when I sent your name to Timoni, he was shocked. He's like, what? Is that how you spell his name? I was like,
is your autocorrect
Michael
tweaking?
is spelled Mycall, right?
Yeah.
Why? Okay. I was about to ask a question, but I've got another thing. So Michael and I work together. The other thing is we've been to a few game nights together.
Yeah.
So there was this one game night we went to. Judging by Timoni's face, he knows what I'm going to talk about.
I think I also quite
So
I
we're
know
playing
what you're talking
charades.
about. Yeah.
And the word to describe was Scania. Please tell us. Please tell us what your description of Scania was.
Okay, so I went to school in Livingston, and from there I picked up some Nyanja. So originally I'm a guy from the core belt, and so Bemba is I speak Bemba with my friends, Mambo in the house, and then English. But I picked up some Nyanja, and so during that game night, I had recently, like prior to that, a few weeks prior, I had seen a meme that said basically, Akakamwana kali constipated, and then at the bottom was the company name Scania, and so it was like when I saw that on the 30-second card in mind, I'm like, yes, I finally get to use this meme. And I remember what your reaction was. Timoni was like, when he went to Barry and he was like, dude, this guy, did you hear what he said?
Okay, so do you actually want to explain that? Like,
What does it translate to for the people that don't
what the
understand
joke
Nyanja?
is, basically,
but like
as well.
what that statement in Nyanja means.
Oh yeah, so in Nyanja, if you say Sikanya, is like the the baby isn't able to take a dump, basically.
Yeah.
So, and then it almost sounds like Scania, the company.
Yeah.
So, akakamwana kali constipated, Scania.
Means that the child is constipated,
Yeah, you
can't
have
take
it,
a
guys.
dump.
Yeah.
So that was my guy.
You know what's funny about that moment
Yeah.
is it goes back to something I've spoken to you about, actually, Barry, where sometimes you say things or you have conversations with people in life not knowing how consequential or how much of an impact it leaves on someone. So sometimes you say something in passing. Or like for me, people say things in passing and I've carried it like long past that, you know.
They stick.
Yeah, they stick with you. And for those people in the moment, they just probably said it, you know. And that was one of those moments where that joke, well, obviously it's a joke, it's nothing like crazy deep, but that joke has stuck with me. And maybe for you in the moment, you were just like, said
It's
it.
one,
And
of,
it
it's one of
passed.
those things, yeah. It's just like,
Yeah,
ish,
but
I got to share a meme.
It's
and
really,
gone.
it was, yeah.
So the funny thing is, every now and then we remember that and we just
we
like
just like, yeah,
fall
man.
in
So
laughter.
You left a bit of an impact.
So
on us.
when I knew Michael was coming on, I was just like, I need to remind him about
Share this
that
with the rest
moment.
of the world.
But yeah, you've talked a little bit about who you are in your 1 minute sort of intro pitch or elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it. I've got one other icebreaker question, which is, if any of the viewers found out something about you that would surprise them, I think I botched the question, what would it be? But it doesn't have to be anything deep. Like if you've murdered anybody, please don't tell us. We don't want to know. But
I promise not to tell.
yeah, what would it be? What would be the surprising thing?
The one thing that would be surprising. I was actually a very quiet kid growing up. I was deep into books and very, very non-expressive. And now, if you had to meet me now, people won't, because like the first impression, as you said, they last, right? And usually I walk into a room and I'm not the quietest guy in the room. But before I met my friend, and I always tell people this, before I met my friend Andrew, there's a guy named Andrew, a friend of mine. I'd like to say his last name, but I don't know if he's comfortable with it. But Andrew opened up something in me that Andrew was crazy honest, and Andrew wasn't afraid to express himself, right? And it was only after I was found with that guy that I learned that, look, you don't have to keep everything to yourself, right? You express your thoughts and express how you feel about certain things, and that's fine. You can just be you and be unapologetic about who you are and how you view the world. And so that, I think that's what would shock you, that I was very, very reserved and very, very quiet, like extremely quiet. I walk into a room and I'm thinking, if I get the opportunity to show how I think, I would do it. But if not, I would just be the guy in the back. Give me an exam and then they'll know my name. But before that, I'm just gonna be the quiet guy. I will just sit in here, and after that, I'll go back home and just like keep to myself.
I've already got a couple of questions.
I've got some, but let me let you, because I asked the first question.
Okay,
you
yeah.
can
So,
go,
firstly, obviously, like, because your mindset has changed, how would you have approached? Because obviously, Barry approached you to ask you to come on the podcast. Because obviously, we think you're a pretty interesting guy, and we wanted to obviously just sit down and have this conversation. How would your response have differed from back then to now? That you're, because obviously this is what you're speaking. Like, you just spoke about being unapologetic about sharing your thoughts. And some people do hold back from coming on platforms like this because, you know, they don't want to be judged per se. So how would that differ from back then to now?
I think if you approached me then, I probably would have had like 1,000 reasons not to show up. I would have found something. I would have been busy all of a sudden. Look, I've got something to do. I'm busy with work. And if you really don't want to do something, there's always a reason why you shouldn't do it. Like, you always find an excuse in your head, and you could validate that excuse. You could validate the reason and say, look, I'm very busy with home stuff. I have to help my wife with something, so I won't be able to show up.
His wife is at work right now.
She is at work.
Oh, wow.
And you could tell yourself, look, my family is more important than a podcast, right? So this is fine. What I've done is all right. But deep down inside, you know, the only reason why I don't want to go here is because maybe I'm afraid, or I'm afraid of what people say. I'm afraid of what, how, if I put myself out there, what they'll think of me.
Yeah.
And so I probably wouldn't have been here right now. I would have been somewhere, maybe playing FIFA, not even thinking about it, and telling some guy, imagine they wanted me to be on a podcast.
You're
And
crazy, bro. Me?
yeah, and it was probably gonna be a guy from back home being, boy, if I tell how I'm picking a podcast, it's Pondana chicken up a podcast.
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, you have to translate for the people
Yeah,
that
that obviously don't speak, but
yeah, ish, you translate.
yeah, but he said, I wanted me to be on a podcast. Me, like a cool guy on a podcast. you know? But yeah.
So my question to that is, how do you think that, fast forward, because so there's two things in my mind. The first thing is, it's interesting how we meet people at a point in time. So we have met you now as Michael, who is expressive, who's the funny guy, who's not the most quiet guy in the room. Whereas there are people, and there might be some people from your past who might even watch this podcast, who knows, maybe, just maybe, and they'll say, is that the same Michael?
Is that the guy?
Because a lot of people go through that, like with Temweni as an example. Because Temweni was a pretty naughty kid. Parents were actually reminding us about it today.
Yeah.
And someone who we know up until now is like, his transformation is night and day. But the other thing that I'm thinking about is, has that worked to your benefit, or has that worked to your detriment? And you know, it could be in different spaces. It could be at work. Do you think being the more vocal, expressive person has worked to your benefit?
Personal relationships.
Or do you sometimes think, maybe I should have stayed the quiet guy?
I think at different points in my life, I've had to choose which guy do I want to be at this time, right? Of course, you read the room, and it is not every room that you walk into and you want to be the loudest guy or the first guy to speak, right? You have to sit down and read the room. But I think for the most part, it's worked to my advantage, because there's certain places that if you do not express yourself, you always keep getting the short end of the stick. And at some point, you have to stand up for what you believe in. At some point, you have to say, look, I can't tolerate this. This is where I draw the line. This is disrespect, and this is okay, right? And if you don't speak up, then people will throw things at you that you keep on taking. You take this and you take that, and it comes at the expense of your own sanity. And I've had to read the room and just be like, okay, look, this space calls for me to be that guy who listens, because you listen sometimes. And then this calls for me to be the guy that stands up, because that guy said something wrong to him or offended the other guy, and he obviously can't speak up for himself. So I have to be the guy who steps in and says, do you realize what you've done to that guy? And do you realize that you could be killing something, that person, that they can't stand up for themselves, right? And then there's been times when it's like, okay, I have to listen. So I'll be the laid back person, the previous version, and just soak it all in before you speak. But for the most part, it's worked to my advantage. I remember in uni we had presentations in 5th year, and these guys in my class are like, look, Michael, at least Michael won't struggle because he can express himself.
Yeah.
And at the back of my mind, I was always like, I wasn't always like this, but I step up, and they have so much confidence in me already. And I'm like, I'm not going to let all these people down. I'm not going to let myself down. And I step up to the podium and I speak. And that worked well academically. And in a professional setting like work now, that also does work well. In the marriage setting, you have to know which husband does my wife need right now. Right now she's sensitive. I can't be hey, we have to do this and then we have to do this and be throughout logical, right? She needs the side of me that listens and appeals to her sensitive side.
Also, sorry, just to cut you short, sorry, bro. Hey, sorry. Hey, people hate that I was cutting Ryan short last time. Sorry, but we were cooking. But finally, we got someone with a ring on their finger. Yep. So we no longer speak hypothetical.
Yep.
We can speak reality.
The only ironic thing is, you know what someone's going to say? He's only been married 8 months. What does he really know about marriage?
You can't please the money.
But I think this is the interesting thing, right? Let's get a guy in who's been married for 8 months. I mean, we were not married, so we can, but married for 8 months. And then maybe we'll get someone in who's been married for 20, 25 years. Let's hear what they've got to say.
So we get a bit of a contrast. But do you still remember your point? If you remember what you were cooking, or I've got a bit of a question.
Someone's going to complain saying he was driving somewhere and
I'm sorry about that. Apologies.
It's all right.
You killed
By the way, and I think the other thing to clarify is the fact that it's a conversation.
Yeah,
right?
it's dynamic.
It's not. We're not interviewing you. We're not here to grill you. And by the way, if you want to ask us questions, you can ask us questions as well. It's a conversation.
But for now, I really want to dig deep because I think he's onto something. Okay. So on the whole thing about how he transitioned from, being a quiet kid to now where he is, and
To
not
being a bit
and
more
obviously
vocal.
a bit more vocal and open. And I think a lot of people do struggle with this. And I think even in one of our prior episodes, we spoke about this with you, where we asked each other the question,
Yeah.
what would people be surprised if they found out? Funny enough, your answer was more or less similar. You said, I'm actually a shy person. And I said, not so much. But
But I want to say something quickly. So I had a conversation with someone this week, someone that we're actually trying to get on. Hopefully that works out. And when I met the person, we spoke about a bunch of things, but one of the things we spoke about was what was their first impression of me? And they said, you're shy. So I laughed at that because I was like, just a few days before this, I had a conversation with my brother.
I was telling him that he used to be shy as a young kid, but like the thing is, sometimes we get attached to who we were when we were younger. Because like for me, I was naughty, so you find like I'm not as naughty anymore. But for some reason, as people, we're inclined to keep saying I'm naughty, but not anymore. So I was saying you're not shy anymore. But my question for you was, how was that process of, I guess, transitioning? Because I'll speak for myself. Funny enough that I brought up this naughty thing. It took a lot of internal reflection. Obviously, being naughty is bad. A lot of internal, but I think it's the same magnitude.
I think just because some people start thinking you were like killing people, you were in a gang,
it was
whatever.
pranks.
It was a criminal record.
No,
Like,
it was just
you were like,
when you're
straight
a
up
kid,
menace.
when you're a kid and you're a bit silly, making noise in class,
And that sort
laughing,
of
pranking
thing,
people.
And especially
being a bit
if
disrespectful.
that's relative to your siblings, like, okay, that's the naughty one because his
Yeah,
siblings are less naughty.
they
Not
always
exactly that
compare. It's a comparative game.
Yeah. But
I also could say I went through a bit of a transition where I became a bit more like, I guess I knew how to act and when to act a certain way. And I can say I would call it a journey, So like, but for you, how was that transitionary process? And what did you go through when you were switching from the shy kid to, I'm assuming it was even an like active decision, say, okay, like, bro, you need to like go for this, Or did it happen naturally? If so, what was the process like?
I think for me, it was quite natural, actually. I didn't realize the person I was becoming, right? Because like I said, my friend Andrew was like the most expressive guy, And at the time you'd be playing soccer, and then after soccer you're chatting, and 80% of the time Andrew is telling the stories, right? And you're there listening, and you're comfortable just being the guy listening. Oh, Andrew's speaking, and that's funny, and we laugh a lot. You joke here and there. But with time, you tend to realize that 20% that you speak then becomes a 25%. Then it's a 30%. And relative to Andrew, that's very expressive, your 30% is just 30. But relative to the next guy who's a lot more reserved, you take up 60% of the conversation, or 70% now. And then, so I didn't really clock the transition until I'm in high school and you're auditioning for things, and they want to volunteer for something, and you raise your hand, you do it. Someone to say a prayer, you raise your hand, you do it. Someone to sign up for anything, for a position somewhere, drama, for anything, sharing music and stuff, and you just realize, easily get up, and the jitters are not as bad. You could easily walk up to the front, say something, and come back, and not really worry what they think about you, because you're getting comfortable in your own skin. Like, oh, this is me, and I've accepted who I am, and I love who God made me to be. So
100%.
I'm gonna be this person, right? And so it happened a bit more naturally, because I'm just like, oh, I said that, and I didn't feel a certain way about it. It felt very normal to me. And then I clocked. I'm like, okay, so this is a transition. I wasn't like this. So it was a bit more natural, and I didn't see it happening. I only got to see it when I was like 50% less introverted, or 50% less reserved than I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna now to take the spotlight from Mike onto you, Barry.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us about your journey, I guess, in this whole shy. Sorry, I know, as much as someone called you shy a few days ago, I'm not gonna consider you shy.
Before you finish your question, I think so. This person lived, again, we're hoping we can get them on, and they'll probably tell their own story, but they've lived in the US for quite a bit. And one of the things that I was telling them is, Americans, of course not all of them, are very boisterous. They've got this very big, they've got aura, this very big aura, big energy, right?
Yeah.
So I was telling her it's very easy for you. It's probably very easy for you to think I'm shy. I sort of understand why you would jump to the conclusion that I'm shy, because you're kind of up here and I'm somewhat down here. But then she goes on to break down how
She arrived at that.
yeah, but also the differences in culture. How for us we're relatively reserved.
Yes.
For Americans, it'll be like, "Hi, how are you doing? How's everything going?" And then, if you don't meet them at that place, it's like, "Is everything okay?"
Yeah.
So that's probably it. But yeah, anyway, is your question?
So, my question is, how was your journey, and what goes? I think what went through your mind as you transitioned, or even now, because and it goes back to the same thing about attaching ourselves to our younger selves or our past selves. We never truly let go, 100%, in my opinion. I'm sure there's always those moments when I guess you break character and you kind of like, even me, with my naughtiness, break character, and like you start now playing all these scenarios in your head. So what do you go through? And,
So mine, so when I was in high school, what had happened was I had like a group of friends. We'd always do things together, and we're also quite naughty. We're like in the back of the class, drumming, making noise, singing songs. But then I had a bit of a falling out with sort of all of them. And I went through this phase where it was just me and I had to make my own decisions. And I think I've told you the story before, but what had happened once was I was very sporty in high school. So another funny conversation I had with a person this week was someone told me, "Barry, you lie on the podcast."
is it?
You lie.
I lie. So I'm like, what do I lie about?
What do I lie about? Yeah.
And they're like, you make it seem like this person that does marathons and does all of this athletic stuff.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
So I had to tell them that in my previous life,
Yeah.
I was very
On
athletic.
another
I don't
level.
look the part now, but,
But-
I was pretty athletic and I did everything. I ran, I swam. I've still got a high school 1-5 record that hasn't been beaten up until now. Me and my mate were on the volleyball team together. Our volleyball team did not qualify to go to the next stage. And at some point, yes, the basketball team had qualified. And I was pretty good at basketball. But he wasn't a fan of it. So because I used to lean into his influence, I didn't sign up for the basketball team. And the coach on the last day, the day before they traveled, was like, if you guys just came for even one practice, I would have put you on the team. And I walked away from that experience saying, I need to be more independent. So when I left high school and I went to uni, I was like, this is a clean slate. I get to start from the beginning.
Redefine.
Redefine,
Who I am.
my persona, my approach and everything.
perception, yeah.
I think where it tips, and I've never really thought about it up until this moment, is I used to study on my own, which meant I had the confidence and the knowledge. Because in class, when I was in high school, I leaned on my friends, I was naughty, I was laughing, I wasn't taking it seriously. So I didn't even have the confidence to put my hand up and answer questions or ask questions. But when I went to uni, because I was studying on my own, I was independent, I was one of those relatively vocal people in class. I would ask questions, I would interrogate the teacher, I'd say, please clarify that, I don't really understand that, but what I studied was this, and I started realizing people around me would be like, he's pretty vocal, they wanted me to be a class rep, and so I think that's where the scale kind of tips.
Ish, bro, I'm sorry, guys, for the viewers. I'm seated next to two very smart gents here. Like, I feel like you guys just the questions just keep piling and piling. It can easily turn into an interview.
But before you go on with your
I
questions,
think actually it's not even a question.
Seeing as we're having a little bit of a sharing session, you tell us what your reflective process was leading you to being
Less naughty.
less naughty.
Okay, cool.
Because it's not like you're not naughty.
Yeah, let's not naughty at all.
I need to tone it down a bit.
Yeah, but it's funny that you ask, because I've actually, good thing for me, funny enough, I've been asked, because as you've said, quite a number of people have brought it to my attention that you've actually switched up. And obviously I've also noticed the
Switched up. Why do they make it seem like it was a bad thing? Because switching up is usually in a negative
like,
context.
in a negative context. But you've
grown.
You've grown, yeah, And even for myself, I have noticed the growth. And I think I took time to think about it. Basically, what it stems down to is, the first question I asked myself is why? Why did I used to act certain way or perform certain acts? When I went to high school, and this actually would take me to my next point after I'm done explaining my point. It's about identity, long story short. So especially at that point in time, you're very, I'll say, attention seeking for most kids. You're just growing, you're going into this big space, high school. And at that point, everyone's attention seeking. Everyone's trying to be the next cool kid. Everyone's trying to be the person, the hot topic. Temweni, or it's Barry. And for me, somehow I found myself into, as I said, like being naughty, playing pranks, being noisy, always be the one making the jokes, always be the one taking the fall when the teacher comes by. And I guess that became what I was associated with. And to keep fueling the fire, you have to keep leveling it up and keep doing it. And that's what it was for me. So once, obviously, I thought about this after all this, when I'd grown. And I realized you don't really gain anything from being the fall guy. Because what used to happen is, would all be involved, but when it's time for someone to take the fall, why is it always me? Why is it never the other guy?
Yeah.
When it's time to get suspended, why is it always me? Why is it never the other guy? Get detention, why is it always me? And that actually has helped even reshape the person I became, because that's why I talk a lot about independence and not leaning on other people so much, because I think people just never had my back then. And because they're so naive as a kid, you don't realize that these people, because they'll be the ones hyping you up in the moment, but when things go wrong, they scamper.
They go their own way.
And you don't, it's like, guys never had my back. But that was my transitioning. It was more like a realization of like, oh, okay. So the reason I used to do what I used to do, and maybe just is like the attention seeking. And I think that at the time, obviously, I didn't know it, but now that I think about it, was the attention seeking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you had a point. This was leading you into your next point.
Yeah. So my next point was introspection or retrospect, looking back.
Yeah.
You also spoke about I think you said something about like when you became a bit more confident, you look back and you were like, oh, I was like this guy who was inside. Well, that's when you notice the change. And I always go back to like sports and gym and stuff. I'll be working out consistently for weeks, months on end, but not seeing a difference. The time you notice the biggest difference is when you look back at your past pictures. And that's the power in retrospect. As people, we easily notice change when you look retrospectively backwards. That's when you notice change. Because the thing is, for you, you're looking at yourself growing every single day. It's small increments daily that you don't, it's marginal increments daily that you don't notice the differences.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to highlight how powerful it is. Like, because obviously we've all just looked back on like our past selves.
Yeah.
And you notice the big differences when you look back.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm also trying to say is, even with regard to like anything you're trying to achieve, work, relationships, school, learning a skill, it's very difficult. Or sometimes, we're like, I'm not making any progress. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But like, even with our careers, gents, and with everyone watching, look back. I think I saw a quote once, or a meme, or whatever you want to call it, that said, you have what you're asking God for 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You have for most people anyway, you have what you're asking God for 5 years ago. And it's because only when you look retrospectively do you really appreciate the difference or the growth. But yeah,
okay. So the things that have been going through my head is, what are like the beyond the blueprint moments in what we've just discussed in this like last 20, 30 minutes or whatever it is? Because there's a lot of power in sort of looking back. So so you can only connect the dots backwards. I don't know if it's Bill Gates or Obama or someone famous said that. Having a moment of introspection, sometimes having that friend of yours that helps you realize or see things that you couldn't see. And I'm just trying to sort of like put it all together. Like what's the beyond the blueprint takeaway from this looking into the past moment just now? Like for you, what would you be the blueprint would be like, let me stay in my lane, let me be quiet, let me not be the person that speaks. But I think looking beyond the blueprint is trying to build that confidence in yourself, even when it's difficult. And it's sometimes, like you said, starting in the small spaces, right?
Yeah.
Like when you have conversations with your friends, even just about football, it's not like you're standing in front of a crowd with a mic and everybody's paying attention to you. It's just those moments where you encourage yourself to say more and more and more and more and more in every conversation, that even when you start stepping into other spaces, you can do the same thing. You can lean on the practice. So what do you think for you is the beyond the blueprint moment in all this, in what we just discussed?
I think what comes to me off the cuff, it would be the bigger picture really matters. Like what you said about looking back, like you only sometimes tend to appreciate the growth or what has changed when you really look at where you started from. Because today I'll try, and I know I'll give an example of how I'm trying to set up a home studio right now, and I've been getting equipment
about
and bits and pieces,
You
right?
told me
So
about it
you
as
get
well.
a small mic, then you get your audio interface, then today you get a laptop, and you don't see how far you've come until you ask yourself, okay, in the last 6 months, in the last 8 months, how much have I invested in trying to set this up? And what does it really mean to me? Especially in those moments when you're like not very motivated because you feel like,
Yeah,
I've been doing this,
no.
but what has changed? And then you look back at 1st January 2025, I had only a laptop, right? And now there's one thing missing till I complete the set.
Yeah.
And it's when you look at where you started from and where you are now that you realize how much growth is there. So the bigger picture is you've transitioned from that guy that was talking about starting a studio to the guy that is almost completing a studio. And the next step will be even bigger. But somewhere along the way, if you decided to stop, you don't see what's happening. Or if I look at today, I don't have a studio monitor. Tomorrow I won't have it, right?
Yeah.
If I compare it yesterday and today, I won't see it. I probably won't see the growth.
Yeah.
But if I look at where I
bigger
started
picture.
from and where I am now, the bigger picture is there's been so much of a transition that I only get to appreciate if I clock it all the way back to where I started. And that to me looks like that should give you more motivation to move forward. Like what if in the past 6 months this is where I've gotten to, how far could I go in the next
6 months? Yeah.
And I'm not starting from where I started from like 6 months ago. Now I'm in a whole different space. So if the last 6 months have had this
exponential
much growth, yeah, and now I'm more aware of where I want to be and I'm more aware of what I could do because this past few months have encouraged me. Where else can I go? Like how far can I really go with this thing? And so that to me is like the bigger picture. And the bigger picture now is smaller than the bigger picture tomorrow. So every time you redefine the bigger pictures, like the bigger picture now is like it's 420 pixels, and then the bigger picture next year is like 720. Then the
some
other
point
year
you get
it's
like
4K, and then you're gonna get to what 32K at some point, right?
That's true.
So that should be like I'm gonna keep on going until I see what that 8K looks like.
And I think, honestly speaking, that has, if even you look at like the people who've achieved like the biggest things right now, you look at the Apples, the Nvidias, the Amazons.
I was doing some reading on some guy called Mukesh Ambani, the richest Asian.
I know that guy.
Yeah.
I think I know of him. Cheers.
I've heard of him as well.
I think, did you actually know that the composition of the most billionaires, I think, are Asians?
I didn't know that.
It's interesting.
But yeah, going back to my point, a fun fact. Like it all starts with small picture thinking and then turning into bigger picture thinking. And I think that's also why there's low-key a danger in zooming in too much. Because obviously, sorry, guys, when I'm talking about this for the audio listeners, we keep like showing the
Using our
timeline,
hands,
basically, like
yeah.
our left arm, right arm timeline. Zooming into the timeline too much sometimes, especially when you're in those troughs when you're not so motivated, is very dangerous. Those are the moments when you should literally take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And then it can help you get you back on course.
So that was like my beyond the blueprint moment as well, which was sometimes you need to stop, you need to take a breath, turn around, look at where you've come from and say, I've done these things, therefore I can go even further. And I think that was pretty powerful. So was that your beyond the blueprint moment as well?
I think,
the bigger picture,
the bigger
and
picture
zooming
thinking.
out and okay. So as you were talking, I was building up a hot take in the back of my mind.
It must be hot.
So you were saying that we are sometimes in places that we were praying for 5 years ago. But
yeah, I saw you like
yeah. No, I was cooking. So do we sometimes find ourselves in a situation where by the time we're getting to the place that we've been praying to get to or working to get to, our mind is already ahead of that place? Let me explain what I mean by that. When you and I'll maybe use like you start a job, right? Okay. When you've just graduated, you're qualified now, you want a job, you're applying. You know, you have those moments. I hope this is like a shared human experience.
Yeah, 100%.
Where you apply for a job and it's looking positive, and you even start imagining how it'll look when you go to work.
You're in that office.
but,
you're cracking numbers.
Yeah, you've got the laptop open, you go for lunch.
Exactly. And you picture the house you're going back home to. You're like, I always wanted a BMW when I was working, before I got married. Look, I want this. So you see yourself driving it.
Are you guys like
see
mind
yourself
readers or something?
fully-
I'm getting a bit
Yeah.
scared. Shared human experience. I was
The
hoping I could-
Hilux,
Yeah, you see the controller in your hand after a stressful day at
Dude,
work.
yeah,
Like, I'm just
PS5
gonna
there.
decompress with
Yeah. So, but do we sometimes have this thing where we toil so much that by the time we get to, let's say, the job, if it's an entry level job, you're already thinking, I should be a manager by now, or I should be a senior. You know, I should be driving that nicer car. Which then puts us at a place where by the time we get to that place, it looks like we're unappreciative of the things that are going on.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, it's just because we're already ahead of ourselves. Do you think that happens to people?
Michael?
I think that happens a lot. I think there's a saying, and I'll paraphrase because right now I can't remember. What I remember is the last bit of it,
That's
which
fine.
says, yesterday's in the past, right? And then tomorrow is in the future. Today is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. And I feel like we usually forget to live in the present because 3 years ago you're praying for a job. Lord, if I could get that job. Lord, if I could get that job. And you get the job, right? You get the job and you start working. But when you get to work, there's a guy that could be younger than you that's earning more or living the kind of life that you might want to live at that point. You forget that you were praying for that job. And right now it's like, look, I wanna live something. I want my life to look something like that. For certain people, that could be like, I'm drawing motivation from him, and that's healthy motivation. I like what is done, and I'd like to do something similar.
Straight up.
For others, it's just like, I want that, and it turns into something on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's like it consumes you. It's envy now. I want that. Why can't I have that? And then you forget that just yesterday you were praying for this, and in this moment that you're in, today has its own opportunities that could move you to the next level. And usually you don't know what it is, right? You don't know what the next level could look like. But if you utilize the opportunities that lie today in the present, you appreciate the present, you take a breath. Hey, I wanted to be here. I'm here, and I'm going to do what it takes to work my way out of this place to the next level. But first I have to appreciate where I am. Otherwise I keep on toiling, and they say every new level has a new devil, right? So you keep on toiling, you get to the next manager stage, and then you compare yourself to managers out there. Oh, I'm a manager here, but there's a manager in the next country that's earning a lot more than me. Maybe I should be in the next country. Oh, I'm married now, but there's that guy who's got kids. Maybe I should have kids. Oh, I've got kids now, but my kids are not going to proper schools. Maybe I should take them there. And then it's something else. Every now and then, it's gonna be something better, something bigger. So if you don't take the time to appreciate that, we are on episode 3 of this Beyond the Blueprint podcast. You're gonna be looking at a podcast that has 3,000 episodes and thinking, I have to get to 3,000. I have to get to 3,000. But there's such a big blessing in being in episode 3 because 2 years ago this was all a dream. There was 0 episodes, right? But you're here now, and I'm grateful for this moment. And I'm not gonna stop now. I'm gonna put in my best and then see what tomorrow looks like. But for now, I'm grateful for this, and I'll see what opportunity is in this moment for me. I'm gonna soak it in, and I'm gonna do the work that gets me to the next level, whatever that looks like.
And I like you used the very important word comparison. You kept using the word compare, and that's where the underlying issue is here. It's because we compare ourselves to others usually. So firstly, I would also want to highlight that there's a very fine line between what you called
admiration or inspiration.
like a healthy motivation and envy. There's a very, very fine line. Because the same things that could motivate one person, oh, that guy drives a better car, that guy has the big corner office. I want to be motivated to work harder and to achieve those things. Could be the same thing that be like, create that envy inside you, that like dark.
Like, why not me?
Why not me?
Him?
Yeah.
Why not me?
I should deserve that.
I shouldn't get a managerial role like him. I should get his role.
Exactly. And then now this is like playing devil's advocate to some extent, because there's the thing in this world, in this current day and age, there's a lot of like this healthy thinking and like be positive, be motivated. But who's to say sometimes you don't deserve that? You know, because like that's like what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like contradictory, you know, like because sometimes I guess I think the problem is the approach. and there's what's societally acceptable approach.
Yeah.
Because high key, some people are deserving of those managerial roles. They've proved themselves. They've worked hard enough.
Yeah.
They've covered. But they've been passed up. Maybe even like when they've taken off other managers, or like that role has been free. It could be their role. They keep bringing other people. I think it's arguable, and that's why it's always arguable that they're deserving of that position.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just so what brings the conflict is what societally acceptable approach is. Unfortunately, you can't walk into your MD's office and
tell me,
that's my role.
I should be there.
You can.
Yo, this won't end very well. Most cases, 9 times out of 10, it won't end very well. I don't advise.
Yeah.
I advise against that. But the other thing, and I wish I could just remember, is it goes back here. Human satisfaction. That's the third piece of the puzzle for me. Is we're very rarely satisfied as humans. You could take. I'm sure we've all wanted that toy or that car or those clothes. Usually it's clothes. Or that phone, and even marketing companies, they use this against us because they know that it's like they always talk about, like I'll talk about tech. I'm very invested in tech, and I'll talk about like an iPhone, for example. For those of you who didn't know, there's what they call the price ladder. So they've strategically placed each iPhone. So like they recently dropped the 17 series, right? You got the 17 Air, or what they call the Air, 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max. And they've strategically placed them basically increasing capabilities or functionality, increasing price.
Yeah.
Apple's goal is to get you to the top of the price ladder. They want everyone to buy the 17 Pro Max because that's where the highest margins are.
Yeah.
What they do is, because they know that humans feed off this, and humans have this lack of satisfaction. They always want more. They keep offering, like, they want you to kind of self-justify yourself into, oh no, but the Air is thin, so let me like just pay. It's just an extra $100, and it looks cool. But no, the Pro has like 3 cameras, and it's got more storage, and it's got vapor chamber cooling. But the Pro Max is big, and by the time you know it, you're at the top.
You spent on the
And
Pro Max.
it goes back to this whole thing of like envy. Like, it's about controlling and this is where it comes into about trying to control your if I go with your emotions, or like this lack of satisfaction,
Appetite.
Yeah, but I'll hand it over to you guys. I'll leave it there.
So I have a few things. The one about being deserving. For me, where it gets a bit blurry. So I think you were there actually.
Okay.
Did you say where it gets a bit berry or?
Oh yeah, maybe I saw it was blurry as well.
Gets a bit blurry.
Yeah,
BLU.
okay.
It's funny that it was blurry, and you're like, I think you were there. That's how blurry it was.
Yeah, it's blurry in my mind as well.
Okay.
But you and I think might have been in a boardroom somewhere having a conversation with a couple of people, and someone said something. I'm in a particular department. I have studied finance.
I was there.
And I deserve to be in finance.
Yo.
And I told them, let's just pause for a second. Let's take 2 steps back. Deserve. That sounds like a very strong word. So you deserve to be in finance because you've got a finance education. There's someone sitting outside on the other side of the gate with 7 finance degrees.
Yep.
Are they more deserving than you? So this is where it starts to get a bit techie for me when you talk about deserving. Because deserving, what's the criteria? And I get where you're coming from when you say that one person deserves it. Because there's a criteria, X number of years of experience, these qualifications, this type of exposure, and if you meet the criteria, technically speaking, you deserve to be there, right? But it starts to become blurry because you could have one person who's got a master's, one person who's got 15 years, one person who's got... So each one of them somewhat take maybe 90%. Then becomes a who's more deserving conversation.
So now, do you know where that now comes down to in the current modern world we live in? What now comes to be the determining factor? Subjectivity. Human decision making.
It still falls on some sort of discretion, right?
Discretion, yeah.
So that was the first thing I wanted to address when you...
it's not clear cut, as you're saying. That's why you say it's blurry.
Yeah. So even when people walk around sometimes saying, I am deserving of that, I look at them and I say, maybe not.
By what metrics?
Exactly. Because it goes a bit to like, even with Christianity, right? Look, I don't know my Bible very well, but like people who feel like I pray every day, I fast, I tithe, I do all these things, I am deserving to go to heaven. No. God will use his own measure of judgment to say, yes, you are deserving, and no, you are not deserving. So I just wanted to point it out. I think it was a very good point. It's just for those people who walk around carrying this banner saying,
And
I
it's
am
deserved.
deserving.
and it's
Yeah.
true. Sorry, before I hand it over to
Yeah.
Michael, just to fight you a bit there.
Yeah, no, play devil's advocate.
First things first is for sure. Like even for me, like I think even a lot of the things I say, like even especially like with work and promotions and stuff, I'll rarely use the word deserve because, as you're saying, like no one owes you anything. No one owes you anything.
And that's what I was gonna speak on.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'll put a pin in that. You
Yeah.
go.
Oh, I think carry on.
Yeah,
Take
take
over.
it.
So
Yeah.
because when you say no one owes you anything, right?
Yeah.
The world doesn't owe you anything, and whatever you think you may deserve, let's say at your place of work, I deserve that promotion. The owner of the company is sitting somewhere, probably in the Maldives, enjoying his time with his family. He's on vacation, right?
Yeah,
And
100.
he doesn't owe you anything. It's off his sweat that he started that thing, and you've been blessed enough to get an opportunity to work somewhere, right? And so where do you really draw the line? Like at what point does it start becoming entitlement? Like
That was the other word that I had in my mind.
yeah, because like you start feeling like they owe me this or they owe me that because I've worked here for the last 10 years, I've given it my best, and you can't bring this guy who's been here 2 years and you give him that role that I deserve because I deserve it more.
But that's the flaw in the system then, and this is I think why even kind of when I brought up the point initially, like fair enough, that's the system,
yeah.
but is it fair? Or are we just accepting that it's not fair? Because what about the people that have worked 15 years, put in their hard sweat, and then they pass them up for someone else? What do we do? So then that's again, this is us digging beyond the blueprint. If you were let me ask you like this. If you were, how do you plan to mitigate that when you guys would be managers? When you guys would be CEOs or MDs?
But
how would you approach such situations? I know it's a very wide general question.
yeah.
but
No, I'll
just
jump to it and
just to kind of put you in their shoes. Put you on the other side.
Yeah.
So are you the guy who's deciding who gets the promotion?
Yeah. So I'm assuming he's looking at the fact that there's this young guy who's come in and he's got a degree as an example, right?
Yeah.
And he's got 2 years of experience, and there's this much older person who's worked for 10 years and maybe they've only got a certificate or they've just acquired skill on the job, right? And then who do you promote in the event that there's an opportunity? For me, what I'll say, and I haven't really broken down this thought very well, I'm hoping I'll articulate it well, is
Cool, bro.
it goes back to the same thing you and I say about we make decisions with the information that we have at the time.
Yeah.
And it also goes back to that leadership thing or that leadership conversation we had with Ryan. It's about you make decisions, some good, some bad, but maybe the good need to outweigh the bad. And the one other thing is, goes back to the entitlement thing and the deserving thing. You can't make everyone happy. And I'm not saying this in a cocky, you should go around pissing off people deliberately. What I'm trying to say is you can promote one person in good faith. Because imagine because it's a bit like, I hear this at work sometimes, the best welder isn't always the best leader. You can have a guy who's really good at welding.
Yeah, he's technically
he's
like,
very
well
good
adapted.
technically,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have the leadership qualities. And unfortunately, or is it fortunately, the guy with 2 years of experience might step in and might actually show more leadership qualities than the guy who's been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think
The leadership conversation is okay. It's a different conversation, of course.
But to answer your question is, it's also not a very clear answer. I think there'll be a lot of other variables that will be in place because you could have the guy who's worked there for 10 years, but he's timid, he's always behind his computer, he's always quiet. There could be the guy who's been there for 2 years, but he's actually confident enough to stand up and question and interrogate. So I think there'll be a little, in an isolated situation,
Yes, of
I
course.
don't know.
There's
but
many
like,
other variables.
Yeah.
But an isolated
Anyway,
situation.
I don't know. How would you make it better? Buy everyone ice cream and I don't know.
I think I would probably have the conversation with both of them what they're looking for, like out of their careers. I'm guessing at this point I probably have a fair idea of what this person is looking for, what motivates him and what motivates him. And like you said, there's the guy who could be very good at the job but can't lead, and there's some that don't want anything to do with leadership. They just want to do their work and then they want to go, right? And so if I'm looking to motivate both, which promotion aligns best with the organizational needs and where we want the organization to go, right? If I'm being very corporate, I'll speak like that. If I promote this guy, how does it help the team? How does it help us to achieve our goals? If I promote that guy, how does it help us to achieve our goals? And if I then realize the guy that's been working 12 years, who's excellent at his job, we need him to continue doing that. And the other guy is more of a leader and is gonna help us achieve what we want to achieve as an organization, then I'd probably want to look at a way that I can motivate both of them. The guy that's excellent at his job could just be asking for a raise. Like, look, give me money, I'm sorted. Just pay me well, and I'll keep on doing this, and I'll keep on doing it well. And the other guy is like, look, I want to be a leader. I want to step in and I want to help because I know I could help the organization at this level. I could lead better. And so if you make that guy the leader and you give him the position and you make that guy happy, motivate him by giving him the money that he wants, then I think maybe, or ideally, you could have a win-win situation to some extent. But like you said, also it's a lot of other factors and what do we need in this moment and other things that apply. But off the cuff, maybe I'd go in that direction if I was like, cool.
So I know, so the thing that's in my head, it's a few words, is considering the fact that you're playing devil's advocate right now, I feel like we haven't hammered you hard enough, and we've still left a lot of room for you to continue being a devil's advocate. But yeah, go ahead.
But okay, I don't want to dwell on it too much because as we could keep going in circles, and I wouldn't want to go in circles. But one thing I just want to highlight is like, I think I like what you guys both said about like, you mentioned it, Barry, you mentioned it more in that not everyone can win. That's basically what it is. Because you've got 5 people on a panel, 5 people are all qualified, 5 people have done work experience. Unfortunately, and there's only one role. Not everyone can be happy. And unfortunately, the so-called well-deserving people sometimes will get passed up. And what I want to highlight to people when they talk about like, why not me, why not me, why not me? In a governance system, it's like if we're talking about trying to be like, what's the best like direction for people or for a team? The whole goal is that more than 50% or more should be satisfied, right? Or should be pleased, like should be made. Like,
I think you meant in a democratic system.
Democratic, but even like generally like under governance, like even if it's a team or what you're trying to look for is like which decision pleases the most people. As you're saying, there'll always be people on the losing end. Even if you said free education for the whole country, there'll be the people that own private schools that will be complaining.
That is true.
But does it help the greater good?
Yeah.
So even with, long story short, like even with all these decisions about like, because we're now basically talking about like people who get passed up and they say like, I'm deserving. Unfortunately, sometimes the decision that helps the greater team, like obviously you getting promoted as that one person or you getting the job helps you. Yeah. But does it help the whole team?
Does it help the whole team? Which is essentially
what he was saying, I guess. But like we just sometimes need to accept that in these systems, in governance systems and there will be people on the losing end. Not everyone can. It's the unfortunate truth. Not everyone can win. We can only try and maximize how many people win. That's what I'm trying to highlight.
You know, the thing that usually comes to mind when we have these types of conversations is it's always the mind. And I've been a lot of the time I sit down and I think about how can I convey what I have in my mind to other people. Trust me. And I haven't yet figured it out.
And we had something earlier.
Okay, all right. But the thing that's in my mind is, because I know, you know what, a lot of the time when we say certain things, I always jump to what's the other person thinking. So someone right now is saying, and like, you know, for you and I, people always think we're privileged, silver spoon in our mouth. So what do we know about the struggle of trying to get promoted or trying to get elevated or, you know, trying to get that role, trying to start that business, trying to push through. But as difficult as it is, and I always like put it, you know, try to describe it as when you've got a bush and you've got a path, you need to walk that path multiple times before it becomes a solid path where trees don't grow and the grass doesn't grow. And if you want that path to change from this direction to another direction, you need to stop walking that path and start walking another path. And that's the way I think our brains are wired. In the beginning, it'll be difficult. When someone gets promoted, even you just conjuring the words to say congratulations. Sometimes it'll feel like it's stuck at your throat because of how hurt you are. You know, you want it to be you. It's normal. We're human beings. We are jealous beings. We want things for ourselves. But that practice of telling one person congratulations and the next, before you know it, it becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. And you know what I've picked up with people who don't dwell too much in the I'm deserving? They're very good at, I think, quickly pivoting into the next thing.
Yeah,
Because, you
yeah.
know, imagine you're sitting there, someone else gets promoted. A lot of the time, the next thing you think about is, okay, that didn't work out.
Yeah,
what's the next
what's the
strategy?
next move?
Am I
Yeah,
going
like
to
what-
apply for a job somewhere else?
Yeah,
Am I going to try a different role?
Yeah.
And because you waste so much time holding on to, I deserve that, I deserve that. All these other opportunities are passing. They're passing you because you're held on to. So I haven't yet figured it out, like a way of conveying that to people in a way that they genuinely understand that this thing, this thing, you know, you call it your mind, your soul,
Mindset.
your mindset, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
And once you start to harness its power,
Yeah, unstoppable, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was telling him about how I said time and chance, right?
Okay.
Ecclesiastes, time and chance, it happens to everyone, and sometimes in that space where you feel like you've been passed up and that should be yours, you don't realize it. But if you stay long enough in the that should be me, that should be me, and in the hate, you start hating, or you start giving less, you end up sometimes being so negative that you actually begin to be the negative thing, or to be the dark spot in the light that could be your organization, right? And you're headed a certain direction, but because you feel like you've been passed up, then your energy drops. You give it less because they don't see me at all. They give me less, and what you're doing inadvertently is now you're being the guy that is dragging the team back. And if anything had to happen, change management, and someone else comes in and they find you being that guy, even if you had 3 more months, you were this close to the diamond. Okay, this guy gets that role, but like 3 months from now, you could get something nice, something big, because now in those next 3 months, you prove to be, you're not a team player anymore, and that response to that one thing could affect how you move going forward. And instead of making the decision in the moment to, I'll congratulate this guy, and I'm just gonna work, do my best, and keep on pushing, keep on moving, and my time and my chance will come as well. You end up being that guy that becomes a drag and becomes a dark spot and just becomes the black sheep, and just you mess things up so much that now they don't want you on the team, and you have no one else to blame but yourself.
Yeah. And for me, the analogy I'll give, really cool analogy I just thought of right now. It's like taking a wrong turn. The longer you keep going the wrong direction, the longer it takes you to turn back and get on the right path.
Exactly.
So you know, it's just about like restrat, and like that's something I've come to learn about highly efficient people, and someone like the people that have risen or grown a lot in their careers and their like lives generally, is how quick, I like to use the word response time, how quick they are to re-strategize. And for me, that's what it always is, you know. When I'm going a certain direction, things don't work out, I don't dwell too much. I try as much as possible not to dwell in that moment, like, oh, this didn't work out. So I'll speak a bit openly, like with my educational journey.
Yeah.
I've hit brick walls sometimes, bro. Like, I've hit brick walls where I'm like, dude, how am I gonna get past this? And I've tried to like grow the skill, or like nurture that skill inside me of quickly strategize. Quickly, what's the next move? Because like the longer you spend, like, you have to accept that basically until I make an active effort to improve this, it's not gonna get better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you failed these courses. No matter how long you stay in that, I failed these courses moment.
It's not
And
like
it
you
won't
suddenly wake up one day
and they've given them to you, like, oh, sorry, oh yeah, we noticed that you're dwelling in this
on
moment.
that, I had a light bulb moment. So I also love I love to make pens, right? So I had a light bulb moment just now, and the funny thing is, the light bulb moment is Thomas Alva Edison, the guy that invented the light bulb.
Pan. Yeah. That's the
So
pan. Okay.
he said he failed 1,000 times, right? And in his failure, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times.
Right.
I discovered there's 1,000 ways that you could fail.
okay.
Okay.
Paraphrased. But the lesson behind that is, how do you define failure, or how do you define that moment that you don't get what you want, or the moment that you fail an exam, right? What does that mean to you? How do you define
You
this?
learned what doesn't work.
Exactly.
So it increases your chances of finding what does work.
Exactly.
So
So
like
it's-
light
it's
bulb
like-
thing, yeah.
I failed an exam. What does this mean? And in that definition of that moment, how you define that moment could mean so much and do so much to you. Because for one person, it's like, I failed. School is not for me. Maybe I should try something else. I should go elsewhere. For another person, it's like, okay, I've learned that if I don't put in enough effort, I won't reach my goal. So maybe I have to put in more effort. And I'll apply this one lesson to many other parts of my life, and everything else will work with this principle. If I don't do enough, if I don't put in my best, I won't achieve it. And that could be a moment of a eureka moment that causes you to do more, and it causes you to achieve much more. But for one person, they define that if you make that a life-defining moment and you call yourself a failure from one thing, then it could send you down a dark road. Yeah, down a dark road. So it's how do you define?
Before I hand the mic over to failure, I just wanted to say two more things. So and it's funny how like a lot of these things we speak about overlap in our like daily lives, and like I guess that's what analogies are. I love using analogies.
You and I both.
Football, and we always reference football. Here we go again. Attackers, defenders. I'm an attacker. One thing I really love about being an attacker is the defender. You as an attacker can mess up as many times as you like. The defender only has to mess up once for you to bag. So you can just keep trying. And that's the analogy, basically. It goes back to the same thing you were saying about failure.
It's like the criminals and
the cops.
And the cops.
Basically, like the
criminal has to
mess up. Only get it wrong once. They get caught.
Yeah.
The cops can keep messing it up until they catch them. So always be in the mindset of the cops. And then the other thing also attached to this in terms of all this stuff about like just like sticking it out until you get something, right? Is I think sometimes and this is a skill, but today I'll be on the one side, which is I think sometimes people pivot too quickly. Like re-strategizing is good, but having the long-term goal, and Bear and I, you talk about this all the time. We know we set like a North Pole. Boom, this is what we want to achieve. The question is, how do we get to the North Pole? That's what you should strategize. Don't move the North Pole post sometimes.
Yes. No, I see
like
it.
You've got a goal. Okay, my goal is, again, maybe to finish, like I've started this course, I've started this project. This is my goal. Don't, as you're saying, like if I'll go for the podcast, it's like, let's say you want to get 10,000 subscribers, whatever. Don't outright say, podcasting isn't for me. I'm throwing all this equipment out. Just re-strategize how you get to that 10,000. And I think sometimes people give up way too easily, you know, they just want to like.
No grit.
Yeah, like guys, like sometimes just stick it out. Like
Grit, okay.
Yeah, have grit, you know. Like stick it out, guys. Like it goes.
But you got a pun in your head?
It's full of puns.
No, but you do need to have meet and greet. in you, like really, think about it. Man. Like meet and greet, like.
Yeah, man. So guys, stick it out, man. Stick it out. Like for me, from now on, I like doing this thing like one takeaway, because pivoting, or should I not pivot yet? Or we're like just like throwing things out here, guys.
I don't know. Go
slight
ahead.
Pivot. For me, like how I absorb information, right? And how I like to learn is what I've come to learn about myself is I'm one of those people that I try to take in as much information as possible. And then I kind of just pick the key things that align with what I do. So like even how I listen to podcasts now, such as, for the people that like to complain about our long form podcasts that are, this one's already running for more than an hour.
Yeah.
But for me, what I do when I listen to a podcast, such as like Diary of the CEO, shout out Stephen Bartlett.
Sure.
Is
like 10th time.
10 episodes in. I don't listen to every single thing they say. I'll be listening to it.
But you should listen to everything.
Yeah, everything we say.
Don't start picking and choosing.
Don't pick and choose. But what I do is like, I'll be working and listening, but like splitting my attention. And then by the end of the podcast, you find that when you pick like one deep thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that goes back to what I was saying. Like, if you want to one takeaway from this episode, like after you finish after that 1 hour something, and you're like, okay, done with all that. Your takeaway from me, I don't know about these other guys. Your takeaway from me should be just stick it out, guys. Like, have grit. Think people and objects and things will try knock you off left, right. Just sometimes you know that thing you want to achieve. I'm sure a lot of us have goals and we have things we want to achieve. This is me telling you that just carry on that path for now. Keep sticking it out. Keep just, give it that last, like energy. Just
spin
going.
those wheels.
So that's it from me, man.
Meet and greet. So, what was in my mind? I'm laughing now. I've even forgotten. But no, that was some pretty powerful stuff. I want to segue
Okay.
very hectically.
Taking
Yeah.
So one of the things that I came across this week, I don't know.
You
whenever.
came across a lot this past.
So you know what's become really interesting
long week.
Mm.
is
It's a Friday, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
That's why the week's basically
yeah. I pick things up as I go along, and you and I do that. That's sometimes how we find out what we're going to talk about, and I keep taking notes of them. Sometimes just mental, sometimes I literally write it down, but then throw it into the conversation as and when it's relevant, right? But sometimes it actually sparks a conversation. So this is going to be a pretty weird one because I think neither one of us has kids, unless you guys have some kids off the books.
Well,
There are no books.
no,
Slow down. No, guys.
You're a married man. You should be very careful. We're going to go home
No,
and sleep. You might sleep outside. But
answering
anyway.
some questions. Yeah.
Anyway,
No,
so the thing that I saw was about DNA tests. Do you think that people should take paternity DNA tests after they have kids? And what do you think the social implications of that would be?
sure.
Do you want to take this one away?
Sure. Well, it's you wanna have a paternity test. Are you doubting my fidelity? Is what they might ask on the other end. It's like, what's the reason for the paternity test? Do you not trust me? And so if I feel like
What if it was just a standard? So you know how I think before women give birth, they need to go through a HIV test, and the only reason they do that is because when you got HIV, if you want the child to be born without HIV, they need to be born via C-section. I think.
Okay.
Natural birth increases the chances of the child.
Okay.
So it's a bit of like it's a standard, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's assume we want to set this as a standard. Do you think it should be a standard?
Okay, so maybe let me chip in there. Funny enough, this was one of those like topics I think we had said at some point we had brought up, and I looked into it basically, right?
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that came up is, this is just like fuel the conversation and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Is what about the effect on, I guess, basically women's privacy? Because for the men, because basically what you're basically saying is like, let's imagine there's married women, there's women who don't want people to know. How does that influence, like, because
And that's essentially why the question is, what's the social?
and I think that is the
social
that is the biggest
implication.
social implication. It's not really the man's problem, it's more the women's problem, because at that point, okay, it could still be like in their personal record, but it's just now like somewhere on file, basically, who paternity test means, so you're testing,
father,
that means you need a man, you need to bring a man forward, like,
Do you?
yeah, because that's what a paternity, how do you know the father is?
Like
Fair,
is
fair,
he
fair,
really
fair,
the
fair,
father?
So at that point, you're basically confirming or denying that this is the person's child or not.
You are not the father.
You are not the father, Jerry's brother. But I think that would be one of the biggest social implications of that one. And
So going back again, like I said, that's probably what could be running through our head is like, why is he insisting on this? If it was a requirement, this is what I think.
Responsibility.
Yeah, like this is what I think. If it
Lot
were
more
a requirement,
accountability.
I think it also, on the one hand, there is that question, right? On the other hand as well, because of the world we're living in today, and there's people who have picked fathers for their kids or dads for their kids because he's more responsible.
Yep.
And he's gonna raise my children. That guy who's the real father will not raise my child because
When he's
he's
making
less
your face.
responsible, right? And that's the reality of today. I'm just saying. So in that case, then the paternity tests helps the responsible guy not to father children that are not his.
But yes. Okay, there's negatives and benefits, positives and negatives.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, like sometimes there are men out there who like are willing to step up, especially where there's like what can I call it? There's a bit of confusion. Like there's not clear who the father is.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want that.
uncertainty.
They want there's uncertainty. They want that clarity of mind. But when you do that, when you have like basically a mandatory paternity test, you're kind of like, for some men they like, I guess they live in the not knowing. They know that maybe by the time I was getting with this girl, she may have been dabbling here and there, but you know what? I'll take responsibility anyway because
Yeah.
I don't know. But at that point, you do know, and it might shift some men to be like, you know what? I'm not taking responsibility, which obviously has, you know, a lot of other negative effects.
So my spin, which I wasn't, this was not part of the thing that I thought about, is the prenup thing, right? So I'm just comparing the one to the other, because you talked about like, but why are you asking me to take the test? Do you not trust me? It's a bit like the prenup. Do you think people should sign prenups? Now, I know, don't quote me. I'm not a lawyer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have
We're
heard.
not giving any legal
I
advice.
have heard
guys.
that.
Are you sure?
Prenups are not legally binding in Zambia because they basically bring disrepute to the institution of marriage. It's not disrepute. There's a word for it.
We get your point.
Yeah,
yes.
But anyway, and one of the things that people ask is, but then why am I being asked to sign a prenup?
Are you preparing for it?
Yeah, I'm not here for the money. But if you're not here for the money,
why don't
sign?
Fine. It's true.
So even with your thing about, but why are you asking me to test? Do you not trust me?
Exactly.
Well, if you're trustworthy,
then let's
exactly.
just do it.
test.
It kind of goes back
let's
to
just-
what we
yeah.
also speak about. Like in Zambia, it's kind of looked down upon to prepare what's the thing when people die?
A will.
A will.
A will.
It's like it's especially like it's not doesn't look good when children ask their parents their parents to prepare wills. Like, do you want me dead? You know, but it just goes back to this whole thing about like what you're saying about, I guess, preparation.
Yeah.
Like the prenup is the same sort of thing. Like people, there's that negative. Is it?
It's
Yeah.
anyway. Go ahead.
So again, it's in an ideal world, as you said, if the reason is what it brings disrepute to the institution of marriage.
Yeah, like it. Yeah.
So
yeah, man, I get your point. Like,
What's the word?
So-
It's not diminishes. It like.
demeans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it
demeans the
looks
institution of
looks
marriage.
down on like
And you know, I
Like
think you need to
maybe
take it into
reduces
context.
the gravity, or
Yeah,
it
you
kinda
need to look at it in
dilutes.
context, because in Zambia, you know, marriage it's a very big thing.
Mhm.
You know, and it's marriage in Zambia. Marriage in the Christian context is you marry, till death do you part.
Yes.
You know,
That's
so it's like when you start talking about prenups and
Prenups.
things like that, you are
what
sort
are you
of.
insinuating?
What are you insinuating? What are you
planning?
suggesting? What are you
preparing
planning?
for?
Right. So I think
Exactly.
that's why in our culture in Zambia, I think it's not. Yeah.
So when I start touching my ring like this, then it's just like
Okay.
I'm Batman.
Okay,
So-
I speak Batman.
marriage is a holy institution, right? It's a big thing, and marriage, when it was instituted by the creator, right, it's supposed to be something that puts two people together and they become one for life.
Yeah.
And looking at it from that lens, you're supposed to enter marriage and you don't look back. It's you and yours until death do you part.
Yeah.
And that's what marriage should be. That's what marriage is. The world today, though, and this is the reason why people do prenups, is because in marriage you have to walk in with, like, you blindly trust the other person, and if both your hearts are aligned and you're looking at marriage from the same lens, you're okay, you're fine, you go in there, and marriage will be beautiful for what it's supposed to be. But people marry sometimes for the wrong reasons, and she's only marrying because he's got money and she gets a share of that money. She doesn't like him, she doesn't love him. But if they get married and they divorce, she walks over with half, and that's why she's entering that marriage. And so I think prenups came from that place that, look, I protect my assets in case she leaves me. But also that, so the prenup is,
And she protects her assets in case he leaves her. I think
Yeah,
there's
well, both directions.
because it goes both ways.
yes, it
There
goes
are
both
women
ways.
who are
who are, like,
paying whatever they call it, that support, not child support, but even just anyway,
spouse
they're
support.
paying spousal support.
Yeah.
whatever
But
it is.
I think another thing it takes out of the equation is it gets rid of all those inauthentic relationships, because if someone signs a prenup, then they might second guess, like, because as you're saying, like in the first case, someone who's trying to do it out of, I'm going for the money, I'm going for the assets, if you sign a prenup, they might even pull out. They might be like, then what's the point?
What
So
is the
it,
point?
it gets rid of
Yeah.
all those inauthentic relationships. But sorry, now I'm going off a bit of a tangent because now we're talking about marriages, right?
Yeah.
And again, disclaimer: Barry and I are married. We have no experience.
How
we're just
do you know?
talking based
How
off
do you
our
know? How do you know?
observations.
But someone in this room.
I hope.
joking.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, talking of our observations and our own opinions, basically.
Yeah.
You know where my fear is with marriage.
Alrighty.
Yeah, we're getting into
We're
it.
getting
We're
into
getting
it.
into it.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, you had to wait this long, but not my fear, but where like
Your reservation.
my reservations. Yeah, that's the right word. And I think this is my summary that I've gathered from having quite long conversations with people who've been married, people with different opinions, is the person you're marrying today, there's no assurance that that's the person they'll be in the future. So let's say today you're marrying, like, because let's say like fitness is a big thing for you.
Yeah.
And this person goes to the gym, they work out now.
They work at wellness.
Yeah.
They work on this.
Fitness trainer. Yeah.
How do you know that down the line there will be that person? And the thing is, we marry people based on the qualities. People marry people based on the
Sorry, so if somewhat gone full circle, we meet people at a point in time.
yes.
Yeah.
So we meet
Yeah.
people at a point in time, as we said
Meet
earlier,
and greet.
and
Meet and greet.
Meet and greet. And these are the qualities they have. This is what
Yeah.
makes them appeal to me.
Yeah.
But there's no assurance that they'll be that person or they'll have those things in the future.
Yeah.
You could marry like the most holy, caring person, and then 5 years down the line, they're like some evil person, you know, that sort of thing.
They do it.
And then-
cheating, they're black.
Because of how society has been set up,
Yeah.
they don't want people, like, generally, like, societal outlook is they don't want marriages breaking up.
Yeah.
Usually they'll be like, yo, why'd you go into it in the first place if you knew? Like, there's just negativity in marriages breaking up.
Yeah.
But I think that's my reservation. Like, long story short,
like
you
how
meet
do you know?
meet a person in time,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know. There's no assurance. And
Like
again, I like to relate it to business, risk and reward.
Yeah.
There's risk within any relationship.
There's risk.
There's risk,
There is risk.
and you need to actually accept it from the jump. That I guess that is what it is. But like, that's my reservation. You know, guys.
If I could speak on that, with
I'm
regards,
deliberately quiet.
Yeah, listen.
with regards to marriage, you again, it's in the cards. You control what you can control, and as you enter marriage, you meet someone great, right? You have no assurance that they will be that person 5 years down the line. Someone said, I'll spin off a bit. Someone said, look at the person you're about to marry and ask yourself if they stayed the exact way that they are, they don't grow, nothing changes. For the next 10 years, would I still want to be with them? Would I still love them? So we'll put that in a box somewhere. We don't have to respond.
No.
But you have no assurance that 5 years from now, they will still love fitness. They will still be into old
Yeah.
school music or classic fashion, right?
Yeah.
But also on the flip side, they also have no assurance that you will be the same fitness guy that,
Yeah,
that you are
true,
that they're in
true.
love with now. And so what you both control is what you become. I control what I become in the next 5 years, right? So if I enter marriage and my thought is I want to be the best person I can be for my partner. I want to outserve them. I want to be the best version of myself for them. And that's their thought as well. I think you what you have is a beautiful dance of what can I do for them? What can they do for me? And what person have I become? And how does that help my family? Because my marriage, how does that help us to grow? And if they're thinking in the same way, as opposed to how are they changing? They've changed. Now I can't love them anymore. They've changed. This is not who you were. Who are you becoming? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's what do you control? And what you really control is what you put in and what you do. And on the flip side, what they control is what they put in and what they do. And if both of you have that, what do I do to make this better? What do I do to make this better? And not necessarily just looking at the other person and what they're doing wrong. I think that works better.
Quickly, before I hand it over to you, if you've got anything to say.
Yep.
Risk, again, I'll relate it back to a business. Those are the risks that you highlighted, right? So you have to put safeguards in place. The safeguards in this scenario are, for me, how, again, from a POV of a guy who's not married, like if I was ever gonna like think about it, right? is yeah, I'm going to be transparent and say I'm not thinking about it right now.
Okay,
But if I do think about it at some point, is what qualities are most likely to outlast in a person that I'm looking for now? Again, even with those, there's no assurance. Like if someone's kind-hearted, we'd hope they stay kind-hearted. There's
stay
still no
kind.
assurance.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah.
things that we know can change within the short term. Let's say someone is, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but yeah, some qualities are more likely to change within a short term as we progress through our lives naturally as human beings, and some are more likely to outlast. Like, I guess the deeper qualities, someone who's loving, usually, but let's not get too caught up in the nuance of it. So for me, what I'll try to look for is those deep core qualities that are likely to outlast. Do they align with me? Because those are the ones, I guess, for lack of a better term, least likely to change. Because some things,
values.
and then the thing is, like, another thing I wanted to highlight is, like, sometimes they don't even look at it in a negative, from a negative POV.
Yeah.
Let's say, like, I'm in a relationship with someone or we're married, and then me, for some reason, I'm all about growth. I'm all about business, and they're not moving at the same rate with me. Sometimes you see, and that's the thing. You meet a person. I like how you say that. You meet a person where they are.
Yeah.
What if I decide to level up to the next level? And obviously, it's debatable, subjective what the next level is, and they don't want to come with me. You see, so it's not even sometimes them changing. It's like you changing, I guess, for the better. What if I become all about let's say we're both not into fitness, right? We're both not into fitness. Then I go on a fitness journey and I feel they don't align with me anymore. You see, it's those differences that I have a bit of a reservation for. But
So there was something that you said in the beginning, just when you started talking. I put a pin in it, but it slipped towards the end. What was it that you said in the beginning? Just remind me.
My reservation?
Your reservations, and then there was something else that you said.
That there'll be differences between...
Yeah, no, but okay, no, I remembered what it is. It's the long-lasting qualities.
Yeah.
I think that's very powerful. So that's essentially sorry, I'm always looking for the beyond the blueprint moments when you guys are speaking.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was a beyond the blueprint moment, which is when people pick partners, of course, everybody's got their own process. Others are like, this tall. Cool. I approve. And then others have a process which is
you have to fill out this checklist.
This is the form, sign here, leave some blood in here,
Some
and
calculus.
But I think it's what you said is those long lasting qualities, because you meet people and they've got a lot to bring, a lot to offer, and then they'll have those. This for me, if it lasts long, be it commitment.
Yeah.
Be it integrity, be it loving, be it caring.
Yes.
And it could even be some things that you find maybe that some people might see as silly, like cooking for me, or is just welcoming me back every time I come. Like our mom does this thing where even when you just leave the house for 5 minutes to get bread, she always be like, "Oh, welcome back. Oh, welcome back."
Yep.
And it seems like a very small thing, but like for us, and which is another very interesting thing she's done for us, is she tells us to greet each other. Because being guys would get up in the morning and we wouldn't talk to each other for hours. We're all just going about our own thing. And then she'll ask, have you guys said hi to each other?
Yeah.
No, we haven't. So it's become a bit of a thing now. It
Every
even feels
morning.
like in the morning it's like, how's it?
How's it?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah,
What's up?
it's always so weird. Huh?
Yes, but she had to bicker on about it. But the point is, it's those quote unquote small things which could last and override changes in how your body looks, or changes in where you work,
They're
where you
kinda
live,
they're the mean,
your
they're the
tastes in
average.
food, and but just hi, welcome back. That lasting could be enough for you to say, I'm going to be with this person, I'm going to stick around them, and then there was another thing that you spoke about.
Sorry, before I let you go.
Yeah.
Back to business and risk. It's like hedging. It's like that's what stops, because you look at stocks, right? And how they fluctuate heavily. But when you hedge, it stops those heavy fluctuations, for the stock going up and down.
Timoni, I'm an engineer. I don't know what hedging is. What is hedging? Please explain it to me.
So hedging is basically
that was me reading Michael's mind.
Yeah, the funny thing is,
What I've heard of a hedge fund, man. I've heard of. Okay, cool. I will ask chat.
But basically, it's yeah, dude, you might need to help me out there, man.
So hedging is basically just protecting your interest.
Yeah.
It's protecting yourself. So hedging is in the event that this value, this stock or this thing loses value,
Another one gains. So they
another one gains, so it offsets.
they offset.
So it's just a protection, which
Yes,
is
it's
I will not
protection.
make a loss or I will not be hurt beyond this point.
Oh,
So hedging is more or less just protection.
it's the protection.
Yeah,
So it goes.
protection.
That's why I'm tying it back to what he's saying
Yeah.
about like there's those underlying long-lasting qualities which even if these other things change, that's the protection. Those are the ones that keep it steady. Like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you went in and out of fitness, or you changed how you cook.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
but, you're still kind.
But
to
you're
me.
still kind, like you
You're
still,
still-
that sort of
yeah.
thing. But yeah, carry, and
Yeah.
then you're about to say and.
My last one was going to be about you leveling up and the person not coming with you. I think, and again, maybe Michael can say a little bit more about it, is I think that's where the fun or the challenge, looking at it from a more positive POV with like partnership, is trying to figure out a strategy which will be, I am growing, but I need to take my person with me
I need to bring them
to bring them along.
Yeah.
Because if you suddenly take on reading, I just have built this interest in reading books.
yeah.
How do I bring my partner along in a way that even if they might not necessarily be reading with me, they could be doing something around me as I read that doesn't disturb my reading, but we can feel each other's presence, as an example.
Yeah.
So even as I'm, like walking into business or I'm walking into growing myself educationally or in my career, how do I pull my partner with me? And I think that's because, as an individual, right? If you choose today, I'm going to start running. You just wake up in the morning,
Yeah,
jump,
just
and
start
run.
running. Then
But even with Michael, we sort of had, he was telling me, my wife will be at work in the evening, so it's fine. And right? And the schedule aligned. You and I, nobody
Bro,
cares.
even 2 in the morning.
cares that we're here right
we're
now.
here right now.
Nobody
Even
cares.
2 in the morning would have
But
gotten
he
up.
must have, right now, his phone's probably got like 3, 4, 5 messages of you haven't messaged me in a while. Who's this girl that you're calling podcast? The point here is, I think that's what's interesting.
That's
Like,
what's interesting about it.
the spice of it all is how do you grow
Like a game
and
It's like a
carry
game
the
of
person
some sort.
along.
with
Yeah.
Michael.
That would be my
Touch
thing.
on that, bro.
But Michael, do you have anything to say about
Yeah,
that?
I think what I want to say is what you said about the long lasting qualities. I think I will call them values, right? And before you decide to get into marriage with someone, to marry someone, right? I think you need to both ask, what does marriage mean to you, and what are your values? Because one could really value family, and that's what's very important to Temweni. Temweni values family, and from how you describe your mom and how you welcome back,
Interact and
he
everything.
goes and comes back and welcome
Straight,
back.
yeah, she's all
and
about
that
this.
could really define how you view family, and I think that has a very huge impact on what you picture marriage to be. And so, what does marriage mean to you, and what are your values like going into this thing? So if you get to a point where, look, I want to wake up at 3, I want to do 20 kilometers before I go to work, and my partner seems to be dragging a bit, but our core values that we're raising our children this way, we're doing this, we're communicating every day, we're showing each other love, we're being kind to each other, those things are still intact. Maybe I should not run. Maybe I should try something that she could join me on, and that could be the challenge again. The beauty in being a bit
trying
different
to
is,
figure it out.
yeah, what can we do together? It probably won't be running every day, but like, what can we do together? And you find that as long as your values stay intact, there's things, and there'll be different seasons in life. You value this thing today, you value the other thing, but as long as that fits around your core values as a family and what you really want your marriage to look like and what it should really be, those other variables things will come and go. Hey, right now I just want to watch Korean series. I just love their culture. And
Is
for
that
you,
what's
it's like
going on for you?
it's like
It seems like a bit too specific.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
It
like,
came
yeah,
off your
okay.
tongue. Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute I'm like, okay, she loves that. What do I do? Mom, I'm watching Korean series. But then on the other hand, it's like our values are we want to stay close to it. We want to do things together, things that keep us together. And if for her that means watching a Korean series, I'm gonna pop in and
then watch that
I'm gonna
series,
watch.
man.
If for me that means spending time, like maybe playing video games or making music. My wife doesn't love to sing as much as I do, but whenever I grab the guitar, and sometimes she'll say, "Babe, it's been a week and you haven't touched the guitar," she will just grab it and bring it to me. And in that moment, she's supporting what I love to do. She probably won't do it with me. Sometimes she'll sing along, sometimes she won't. But just our values are we need to stay together and we need to be close. And that what we're doing in that moment is keeping us close. And that goes. That's what matters. It's like the underlying values and how we view this thing and where we want it to go.
Yeah, it's for me. Sorry, going back to business. It's like organizational. It's like organizational strategy.
Yeah.
It's like you've got, as you said, core values. It's the same with an organization. There are some organizations where like it's about professionalism, it's about integrity, transparency, and those are the core values. You know, you see it up on every organization or whatever. They have their core values. Then, as you said, like for as long as that's intact, you now start getting things that align with that. Like I like how you said like, oh, I want to start waking up at 3 to start running. Unfortunately, if it doesn't align with like the core values, I'm sorry to like attach it to business. It's like the business will be like, no, sorry, doesn't align with what we do. Can't do that because the long term goal. It's like that's the challenge. That's the beauty of it. It's like a business, like trying to strategize what works, what aligns with our strategic direction and values.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty cool.
Yeah, well, look, the conversation can go on and on
As they
and
always
on
seem
and
like
on.
they can. Yeah.
But yeah, we have to call it a close at some point. So before I close it off, do you guys have any final short bits?
I do.
Yep.
I do.
Yeah, what's your one?
Michael, if you could leave the listeners.
You know, it's like you read my mind,
bro.
bro.
We're connected. We're like this, man. I mean, I finished my point.
We're in
Okay, so
sync.
just like you read my
We're in
mind.
sync.
Yeah, I feel
man.
like you're about to say something totally different from what he's thinking.
Maybe you
I
might.
know,
No,
I just
I
hope
know
I
what
don't
he's about
botch
to
it.
say,
I don't. Just hope I don't botch it.
Mm.
But like, yeah, if you could leave the listeners with like one last final thought, to take with them, you know, long beyond what this, like, you know, years into the future, months into the future, what would it be? What would you leave with us? Could be anything unrelated to what we spoke about,
Are you
related to
checking
what
if
we
it's the
spoke
same
about.
thing?
Yeah, it's one of
It's not the same thing.
not.
Okay, ask yours.
Mine was going to be that other thing we've been talking about. Anyway, well, it's actually a borrowed idea from someone else's.
But please.
If you could leave a question for the next guest, what would
Okay,
the
no, but
question
that one will be after. That one will be after. And I think we'll start the tradition with you. No, well, we need. Okay, he needs to leave a question, which he can't tell the public. He'll tell us off mic. Then the next
okay,
person
cool.
will ask them
Alright.
that.
Yeah.
Then we'll ask. So
Okay,
you
alright.
start the, just so that people know you're starting that tradition.
Okay,
So you
alright.
ask us. You give us the question off mic. But yeah,
So
what
like,
can you
I'm
leave?
the founder of this.
Yeah, man, claim it. It's all yours,
Pioneer.
bro. It's all yours. We
Thank
name
you
it the
very much.
Michael question. Nah, jokes.
Yeah.
The Mycall
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Michael
yeah. So you're gonna make the call, man.
Yeah, but dude, what would you leave the listeners with, man, and viewers? No pressure.
No pressure.
Thank you. I don't feel pressure at all.
Mate.
What could it be? I don't want to say meet and greet.
Yeah, definitely don't say
I
that.
don't want to say
Don't
meet and
say
greet.
that.
But if I'm gonna say meet and greet, then
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
spill the meat and I'm gonna spill the
Yeah.
greet.
You've really minced this joke.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Ish.
Mm.
I think it's. I'll just say bigger picture. Take the time, zoom out, and see what the bigger picture is like. What. Look at the canvas and see what picture you're painting, and see how it fits in your values and your long-term goals. Just what is the bigger picture? What I'm doing today, how does it fit into what I want to become? We obviously all have like a picture of where we want to be and how we want to move. And so every so often, just step back and see what picture am I painting? Really, what picture am I painting and how does it fit into my bigger plan for my life, really, or for this journey, the journey that I'm on.
Cool.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Powerful
So,
stuff.
yeah, as always, thank you very much for listening to us. We appreciate it. Michael is a different voice from what we've heard before, what we've been having. Temuni and I agreeing on everything. I don't know if Michael disagreed with anything that we said, but yeah. Well, people can follow you on social media. I'm guessing you do have some sort of social media presence. I think there's one more thing I know you want to shout out is Michael is an artist. He makes music. So yeah, you do your thing.
Do you have a YouTube channel? Or what platforms are you
actually
on?
do. So I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Boomplay not yet, but YouTube
Okay, cool.
and all these other streaming platforms, Deezer. And I just dropped an album on the 16th of July.
Lovely stuff,
My
guys.
first album.
check out his links, like the links to
You-
all those
you and the
platforms in the
links?
description. Yeah, everything will
Alright.
be in the description.
Yeah, so that's been it. As usual, we try to foster conversations that are beyond the blueprint, and we obviously try to make it light. We don't want it to be too serious. We don't want it to be serious all the time. This is a conversation. I hope there'll be some stuff that people will take away, which allows them to look beyond the blueprint, looking at the bigger picture, zooming out, taking a moment, or if it will be taking a DNA test, you do your thing. But yeah, thank you very much. We always appreciate it. Please do like, share, subscribe, pay it forward, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep, 100%. Thanks,
All right.
Michael.
Cheers. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate
guys
it.
for having me.
Upwards and
It's,
onwards. Man.